the smoke-filled backrooms of 1931 New York, one man stood above all others. His name was Salvatore Maranzano, a Sicilian mobster with a thirst for power and a deep respect for Roman history. He had just won the bloody Castellammarese War, a brutal conflict that left the streets littered with bodies. His main rival, Joe the Boss Masiria, was gone, gunned down in a Coney Island restaurant. With Masiria out of the picture, Maranzano called a grand meeting of the city's most powerful gangsters. He walked in, not as an equal, but as a conqueror. He declared himself the capo di tutti, primera cape, the boss of all bosses. It was a title that hadn't existed before in America, a declaration of absolute monarchy over the entire American Mafia. He demanded every gangster, every family, bend the knee and kiss his ring, paying him tribute just as ancient provinces paid tribute to Caesar. Maranzano saw himself as a modern-day emperor, and he ruled with an iron fist. He was intelligent, disciplined, but also incredibly arrogant. He lectured the other bosses on military tactics and Roman history, treating them like uneducated soldiers rather than his peers. He believed the old ways, the traditions of the mustache Petes from Sicily, were the only way to run a criminal empire. This didn't sit well with a new generation of Americanized mobsters who saw his old-world traditions as a roadblock to bigger profits. Among them was a young, ambitious gangster named Charles Lucky Luciano. Luciano had initially allied with Maranzano to take down Masiria, seeing it as a necessary evil to end the war. But he quickly realized he had just swapped one tyrannical boss for another, one who was even more paranoid and controlling. Luciano was a visionary. He didn't want a king. He wanted a board of directors. He saw the future of organized crime not as a feudal system of warring factions, but as a smooth, corporate enterprise. Maranzano, with his endless lectures and demands for tribute, was a threat to this vision, and Maranzano saw the threat right back. He viewed Luciano and his forward-thinking allies like Vito Genovese, Frank Costello, and Meyer Lansky as rebels who needed to be put down. The boss of bosses drew up a hit list, with Luciano and Genovese at the very top. He hired a notorious gunman, Vincent, Mad Dog Call, to carry out the executions. But Maranzano made a fatal mistake. He told one of his underlings about the plan. That underling, loyal to Luciano, leaked the entire plot. Luciano knew it was kill or be killed. He had to strike first. On September 10th, 1931, just 5 months after being crowned, Maranzano's reign came to a shocking end. He was in his lavish Park Avenue office in the Helmsley building, a symbol of his power and authority. 4 men, disguised as IRS agents and police officers, walked into the building and were waved through by a man on Luciano's payroll. They entered Maranzano's office, disarmed his bodyguards, and lined them up against a wall. Then, they turned to the boss of bosses. Before he could even react, they pulled out knives and guns. It was a brutal, swift, and personal execution. They stabbed him repeatedly before finishing him off with a volley of gunshots. Salvatore Maranzano, the self-proclaimed emperor of the American underworld, fell dead on his expensive office carpets. His reign as the boss of all bosses had lasted less than half a year. Maranzano's death wasn't just another gangland slaying. It was a revolution. In the aftermath, Luciano called another meeting. But this one was different. There was no throne, no demand for tribute. Instead, Luciano laid out his modern vision for organized crime. He abolished the position of boss of all bosses for good, declaring that no single man would ever hold that much power again. He established the Commission, a ruling council composed of the leaders of the major crime families across the country. In New York, he reorganized the warring factions into what would become known as the 5 families. The Luciano family, Later; the Bonanno family, Later Gambino; the Galliano family, Later Lucchese; the Bonanno family, and the Profaci family, later Colombo. Each family would operate independently in its own territory, but the Commission would mediate disputes and approve major decisions, preventing the kind of all-out wars that had plagued them for years. It was a corporate structure for crime, designed for stability and profit. Maranzano's murder wasn't just the end of a man. It was the end of an era, and the birth of the modern American Mafia. His brief, bloody reign served as the catalyst that forever changed the face of organized crime in America. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this dive into Mafia history as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the hidden corners of history. We'll see you in the next one.